morning and a very warm welcome. You are watching JanataTelevision and this is the English Bulletin with me, Anustha Acharya. The top stories first. Political parties committed to fully abide by election code of conduct. Parties signed commitment letter ahead of May 13 election. President Bhandari issues 5 ordinances. The ordinances were issued again after Parliament failed to endorse them. Prime Minister Dubai inaugurates Troba Dry Port, the new facility expected to develop Kathmandu as a trade hub. Zelensky says security will be top priority in post-war Ukraine. The president floats the concept of people with weapons. And Machintra Football Club crashes out of AFC qualifiers. Sri Lanka's Blue Stars turns Machintra 2-1 at home turf. And now the news in detail. Political parties taking part in the local level elections scheduled for May 13 have expressed commitment to fully abide by the laws and rules in order to hold election in a free, fair, trustworthy environment. A report. The Election Commission had invited the political parties to the Commission's head office yesterday seeking their commitment to follow the Election Code of Conduct. The commitment letter reads, "We are ready to follow different provisions of Constitution of Nepal, Election Commission Act 2073, Political Parties Related Act 2073, Election Crime and Punishment Act 2073, Local Level Election Act 2073 and Election Code of Conduct 2078 with honesty." Leaders and representatives of the political parties signed the commitment letter promising to be present if the Election Commission, Election Monitoring Committee, election officer and polling officers call them in context of election. Chief Election Commissioner Dinesh Kumar Thapalia said that political parties were invited with an objective of seeking their commitment to fully abide by the Election Code of Conduct before implementing the election code. Nepali Congress Vice President Purna Bahadur Khadka, CPN Maoist Center Committee member Leelamani Pokhrel, Dr. Beduram Bhusa of the CPN Unified Socialist and Election Department member of the CPN UML Baburam Dahal among other party leaders and representatives signed the commitment letter. President Bidyadevi Bhandari issued 5 ordinances yesterday. The ordinances were issued in accordance with Article 114(1) of the Constitution of Nepal upon the recommendation of the Council of Ministers. President Bhandari issued the ordinance to amend Acts related to sexual violence 2078 BS, Ordinance to amend certain acts relating to criminal offences and Criminal Procedure 2078 BS and Social Security First Amendment Ordinance 2078 BS. Similarly, the head of the state issued the ordinances related to acid and hazardous chemicals, Regulation 2078 BS and Nepal Police and Province Police Operations Supervision and Coordination First Amendment 2078 BS, according to a press statement issued by Deputy Spokesperson at the Office of President Keshav Prasad Khimire. The ordinances were issued earlier during the tenure of KP Oli-led government but were yet to be endorsed by the Parliament. Acid attack victims have been suffering due to the delay in enacting laws. Chairman of the CPN Unified Socialist Party, Madhav Kumar Nepal, has pledged to increase social security allowance to ₹5,000. Addressing a training and program to welcome new party members at Kapilvastu's Sivaraj municipality, Chairman Nepal said that he initiated the old age allowance while he was in the CPN UML. He said that the opposition parties have started blabbering on seeing the attraction of the people towards the unified socialist. Chairman Nepal claimed that the common coordinates of the alliance will win the upcoming election, stating that the 5-party alliance is undergoing continuous talks and discussions. He said that all the parties are positive towards the alliance.
पार्टी को पनि नेता फेरि हामी नै हो अरु नक्कलीले आएर भन्ला हामी हो भन्ला त्यो नक्कलीले नपत्याउनुहोस् सक्कली हामी हो हामीले दिएका हौं सुरु गरेका हाम्रो ध्यान जनतामा केन्द्रित छु।
Stating that the Unified Socialist Party is moving towards the direction of socialism, Chairman Nepal urged the leaders and cadres to work for justice, truth and change. During the program, Chairman Nepal welcomed hundreds of leaders and activists including popular leader of Kapilvastu, Dr. Manju Khas, into the party. This is Janata Bulletin. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back. After the break, we continue with other national news. The active cases of COVID-19 in Nepal stands at 812 on Tuesday after 21 people tested positive for the infection. The latest number of infections took the nationwide tally to 978,528, while the death toll remains at 11,951 as no fatalities were recorded yesterday. Meanwhile, the recovery cases stands at 965,765 after 51 people were discharged yesterday. As per the latest data provided by the Health Ministry, a total of 5,587 tests were conducted in the last 24 hours, of which 3,278 were PCR tests, while 2,309 were antigen tests. Similarly, antigen test confirms 3 positive cases in the past 24 hours. Nepal's COVID-19 recovery rate stands at 98.7%, while the fatality rate stands at 1.2%. Currently, there are 106 individuals in various quarantine facilities across Nepal. Madhepur Thimi municipality has started intensifying a campaign for listing its historical festival Viska Chaitra in the World Heritage List. Madan Sundar Shrestha, the mayor of Madhepur Thimi, said that this festival organized in Madhepur Thimi is a form of historical abstract act, and we are organizing a campaign to enlist it in the World Heritage. During a press conference organized on Tuesday at Nepal Tourism Board office, Prakriti Mandap, he requested journalists to publicize the festival that is organized from April 13 to 15 so that it will help boost the cause. He informed that all the mayors of different municipalities are going to take part in the program.
यसपालि चाहिँ हामी त्यो सबै कुराहरू उल्लासपूर्ण रूपमा यो कोरोनाको कहर पनि हटेको छ। विश्व जात्रा चाहिँ धेरै पछि चाहिँ अब हेर्न लायकको बनाएका छौँ। ठाउँहरू चाहिँ विश्व जात्रा पनि हेर्ने, अमूर्त कला पनि हेर्ने, अनि त्यसमा रहेका मूर्त कलाहरू पनि हेर्ने र त्यसलाई चाहिँ सम्वर्धन र प्रवर्धन गर्नको लागि पत्रकार साथीहरूको महत्त्वपूर्ण भूमिका हुन्छ। यसको लागि हामी अनुरोध गर्छौँ भने आज प्रमुखतिको हामी विद्यालयलाई चाहिँ अनुरोध गरेका छौँ। उहाँ मार्फत यो फोटो प्रदर्शनी हेरिसक्नु भएपछि उहाँले हेरिसकेपछि काठमाडौँको दाजुभाइहरू धेरैजना त थपमा चाहिँ विश्व
During the press meet, the mayor of Kathmandu metropolitan city, Vidyasundar Sakya, said such festival should be promoted in order to educate the historical and cultural importance of the festivals to the new generation. He further added that preservation and promotion of such heritages play a vital role in boosting the tourism sector. The Ministry of Health and Population is gearing up to inoculate 7.5 million children against typhoid. A report. Chief of the Child Health and Vaccination Section at the Department of Health, Sagar Dahal, said children between the age of 1 year and 3 months to 15 years would be administered the vaccines against typhoid. The vaccination program will be conducted from April 8 to May 1. Dahal said the typhoid vaccine would be administered for one time. The Global Alliance for Vaccines has provided the typhoid vaccines free of cost to Nepal. Nepal is the first country in South Asia to administer the vaccine against typhoid. The World Health Organization has recommended vaccination against typhoid in countries including Nepal, where typhoid is prevalent. The vaccines will be administered at 56,429 vaccination centers and schools throughout the country. 10,000 health workers and 112,858 volunteers will be mobilized for the vaccination drive. Section Chief Dahal said that going by the data of the last 5 years, typhoid infection has been found in more than 450,000 people in Nepal. Although the typhoid infection is seen in people of all age groups, it is more prevalent among children below 15 years. Director General of the Department of Health Services, Dr. Dipendra Raman Singh, pledged to eliminate typhoid through sanitation and vaccinations. According to a study, 1,062 people out of every 100,000 people tested have been found infected with the disease. Stating that the vaccine had been put to use only after its clinical trial, Director of the Family Welfare Division, Dr. Bibek Lal, said it requires only one dose and it is 85% effective. The typhoid conjugate vaccine being administered in Nepal has been approved by the World Health Organization. Common side effects after vaccination include fever, headache, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach pain, and skin rash, among others. However, the department has urged parents to take their children to nearby vaccination centers without being afraid of such common side effects. And now the news from economic front. Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba inaugurated the Choba Dry Port amidst a program yesterday. The dry port was constructed to facilitate the country's international trade. A report. Inaugurating the dry port, Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba expressed confidence that construction of Nepal's first dry port on the outskirts of the capital is a milestone in developing federal capital Kathmandu as an international trade hub. He said that the dry port would play a special role in facilitating export-based trade and availability of a one-step service, including customs screening and quarantine to reduce the cost of foreign trade and also help the administrative process. Prime Minister Deuba further claimed that the dry port would promote export by facilitating trade and enhancing transparency. The dry port is expected to further ease the trade through Kathmandu and mark the trade of goods and services competitive and effective by reducing cost involved in export. Stating that administrative hassles are still prevailing, especially in the transportation of goods and services in Nepal's foreign trade, Prime Minister said such a high-quality trade infrastructure would help lessen the hassle. Prime Minister Deuba said trade deficit would be reduced by increasing competitiveness of the trade and industrial products of Nepal and exporting Nepal-made goods in the international markets. Deuba claimed domestic and foreign investors would be attracted in industrial development that would ultimately help create jobs within the country. The Prime Minister assured that this government was committed to create conducive environment for industrial development and to attract foreign investment. He added that various programs were introduced for reforms at policy level and procedural level to achieve the target. Furthermore, the Prime Minister spoke of the need to simplify and reduce the existing procedural hassle in foreign trade and said he was ready to collaborate with the private sector to promote trade. Time for a short break here at Janata Bulletin. Stay tuned for international news. Welcome back. Now the international news. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says the main issue for Ukraine after Russia's invasion will be security. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that he wants his country to become a big Israel with its own face after the Russian invasion ends, stressing that security would likely be the main issue in Ukraine during the post-war period. In comments to local media posted on the president's official website on Tuesday, Zelensky stressed that his vision for Ukraine's post-conflict future included having armed forces in all institutions, supermarkets, cinemas. There will be people with weapons. Zelensky, who is Jewish, has on several occasions stressed the importance of maintaining close ties with Israel, which he held as a model for Ukraine. I am sure that our security issue will be number one in the next 10 years, Zelensky said, dismissing the idea that post-war Ukraine would emulate a liberal European democracy such as Switzerland as a model. He said that the Ukrainian people will be our great army. Despite his ties to Israel, Zelensky has, however, been critical of the government's awkward position on the Russian war on the country. After maintaining a relatively quiet position on the invasion, Israel's Prime Minister came out with a statement condemning the alleged atrocities in Bucha near Kyiv. Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has revoked a state of emergency after dozens of MPs walked out of the ruling coalition, which has been struggling to quell protest over economic downturn. In another setback for the administration on Tuesday, Finance Ministry Ali Sabri resigned a day after his appointment and ahead of crucial talks scheduled with the International Monetary Fund for the loan program. Rajapaksa dissolved his cabinet on Monday and sought to form an unified government as public unrest surged over the ruling family's handling of the debt-heavy economy that has led to shortages of food, medicine and fuel and prolonged power cuts. In a gazette issued late on Tuesday, Rajapaksa revoked the emergency rule ordinance that went into effect last Friday. Sabri said in a registration letter to the president that he believed he had acted in the best interest of the country. At the crucial juncture, the country needs stability to weather the current financial crisis and difficulties, he said in the letter seen by the news agency Reuters, also offering to resign from the seat in the Parliament of Sri Lanka if the president wanted to bring in someone from outside to replace him. Street demonstrations against the food and fuel shortages, triggered by a lack of foreign exchange for imports, began last month but have intensified in recent days. Dozens of protesters peacefully gathered near the residence of the Prime Minister on Tuesday as reported by news agencies. You are watching Janata Bulletin and now the latest from the world of sports. Nepal's league champions Machindra Football Club has crashed out of the preliminary round of AFC Cup qualifiers after suffering a 2-1 defeat against Sri Lanka's Blue Star SC on Tuesday, a report. Mohammad Isan and Senal Sandes were on target of the Sri Lankan club during the match held at the Dasrath Stadium, Tripureshwar. Machindra FC's keeper Sujal Shrestha hit back a goal for the host. Machindra could have taken an early lead in the 9th minute in a long pass from Bimal Khartimagar to Nurlan Novruzov. However, Novruzov shot wide in a 1-versus-1 situation. Blue Star had earned a penalty in the 15th minute after Devendra Tamang fouled Senal Sandes in the penalty box. But Machindra FC's goalkeeper Vishal Shrestha foiled the attempt from spot kick by Eraped Ombebe. Blue Star took the lead in the 24th minute when Ishan scored in a free kick from Fazal. The Sri Lankan club were awarded the free kick after Bisal Rai upended Mohammad Asad. 4 minutes later, Sandesh doubled Sri Lanka's lead with a cool finish after Ranjit Thimal failed to clear the ball from the box. Novruzov made an attempt on goal in a free kick from Rezen Thimal in the 35th minute, but he was adjudged to be offside. Novruzov failed to meet a cross from Bimal Khartimagar immediately after that. Khartimagar failed to score header in a corner kick of Rezen Thimal in the 38th minute, while Devendra Tamang's second attempt was foiled by Blue Stars goalkeeper Lakpriya Fernandes. Nepal had a golden chance to hit a goal back in the 67th minute, but Bimal Khartimagar's header in a cross from Abhishek Rijal rebounded after hitting the pole. Chiring Gurung's attempt to score in a rebound was foiled by Blue Star skipper Tharindu Iranga. Sujal Shrestha's header in a cross from Rezen Thimal went wide in the 77th minute as the home side waited anxiously to cut the deficit. Machindra's improved performance in the second half paid off when captain Shrestha utilized a pass from Manish Dangi to slot inside the net in the 4th minute of injury time to make the score 2-1. However, it was too late for Machindra to revive their hopes. Blue Star will now face India's ATK Mohan Bagan in the second round match on April 12. The Supreme Court has quashed a writ petition filed by the then Member Secretary of the National Sports Council, Ramesh Silwal, against the government's decision to remove him from the post of NSC Member Secretary. A division bench of Justices Anil Kumar Sinha and Kumar Begmi quashed the petition filed by Silwal, informed Supreme Court spokesperson Bimal Paudel. The Supreme Court had issued a final verdict quashing the petition of Silwal. Therefore, an interim order issued in the case earlier has automatically become void, said Paudel, adding this has opened the door for Tonkalal Khising, who was appointed member secretary by the government, to return back to office. The Council of Ministers had dismissed Silwal on October 18 and appointed Khising in his place. Silwal had moved the court against the government's decision to fire him. As the case got prolonged in the court, Sports Minister Maheshwar Chaitra had appointed NSC employee Kul Bahadur Thapa as the acting member secretary of the sports governing body. Kevin De Bruyne's second-half goal gave Manchester City victory as they overcame Atletico Madrid's typically fierce resistance in their Champions League quarter-final first leg at Etihad Stadium. Diego Simeone's side performed with their trademark defensive discipline, restricting City to very few opportunities until De Bruyne pounced to make the breakthrough with 20 minutes left. Phil Foden, on as a substitute, proceeds the moment of magic to unlock Atletico with a perfect pass through the legs of Rendino for the De Bruyne's two-slot past goalkeeper Zlan Oblak. It was the decisive moment in the tightest of the games, but City manager Pep Guardiola's wild celebration illustrated just how much it means to take a lead, even if slender, to Madrid for the second leg on 13 April. We are at the end of Janata Bulletin and the headlines once again. Political parties committed to fully abide by election code of conduct. Parties signed commitment later ahead of May 13 elections. President Bhandari issues 5 ordinances. The ordinances were issued against the Parliament failed to endorse them. Prime Minister Deuba inaugurates Choba Dry Port, the new facility expected to develop Kastamanda as a trade hub. Zelensky says security will be top priority in post-war Ukraine. The president floats the concept of people with weapons. And Machintra Football Club crashes out of AFC qualifiers. Sri Lanka's Blue Stars stops Machintra 2-1 at home turf. And that's all from the English News Desk for today. You can follow Janata Television and our programs on various social media platforms, including on our website janatasamachar.com. Keep watching Janata Television. Namaste.